before we get going, I would like to do just some brief introductions so that we can go over the agenda of what we're going to accomplish today. I know the agenda says we're going till 4. We have an hour set aside for lunch. Depending on how well we do, that can be a working lunch or that can be a free lunch. So typically we're getting between 20 and 45 minutes of like admin stop time at lunch. So I'll try to keep us on pace today so we've got that mental break. Because the hardest stuff we start at 3 o'clock today. So we'll try to keep this moving for you. So my name is Ryan Saddam. I co-founded a company called Client Savvy back in 2004. I went to school to be an architect, and there were some NPs here that don't hate me, so I'm better. I launched Client Savvy out of Phillips Architecture back in 2004. I personally worked with over 600 ATC firms to help them design, implement, and measure the client experience. So that's the context I bring. Got 4 kids, 3 adults, and 1 teenager still at home. So live on a 7-acre goat farm. Race cars on the weekend, and my 16-year-old beat me by like 0.008 seconds Saturday for the first time. So I knew it was going to get this. I didn't think she needed this too. Love baseball. If you ever want to talk baseball stats, I will like be your friend for the rest of the evening. So just a bit about me. We, Client Savvy got acquired by ClearlyRated last April. So we're now part of the ClearlyRated team. That's the only company I would have sold to at this point in time because like us, they're a small boutique firm focused exclusively in the professional services industry. So where AEC was our core, ClearlyRated brings a strong focus on staffing, accounting, and legal. So we would bring this into a robust set of capabilities for all the professional services of client experience. So that's me. Can we just do a quick little introduction around the room? Start over here. Yeah. All right. So our agenda today, we're going to be starting out. We have an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours, and an hour, roughly. Okay, we're going to see how the conversation goes. First hour, I want to lay the foundation. What is client experience? What does that mean? Let's get some common definitions of that so that we're using the same language over the course of the day. Rob, we were talking about the art of client experience. What I want you all to understand today is there is a methodology and a scientific approach to client experience. So, I've worked with a lot of engineers. CX is all about emotion and empathy. So there's an intersection of those two that makes a lot of sense. And I love having a mixed room today with marketers and technical professionals. I think it's really going to make this conversation much more dynamic. So we'll do CX fundamentals, and our first activity is going to be a CX maturity assessment. It's always really interesting when there's like 5 people from the same company in here. As you assess your maturity, well, we might have some lively discussion around here. Really, where are we? There's a 0 to 5 on 5 different dimensions. I want you guys to know the average through the boot camps is like 1.5. So be authentic, be vulnerable. If you are not true to yourself, you might try to do some things that your firm is not ready for. It's like building a building and the foundation's not set. So first hour is all about let's set that foundation. Second hour, that's really going to go, I think one of you was talking about building a business case, trying to get buy-in for this organization. How do you get this funded? How do you get time, resources, and attention? Because everybody is busy. So we're going to show how client experience is not one more thing. Client experience is an accelerator for the most strategic things you're doing in the business. So how do we tie CX into solving your hardest business problems? And then how do we build an ROI model or a business case for them? We've got a real quick and dirty ROI model I'll show you at the end, but I'm going to take you down a long road and a more customized ROI models. I want you to be equipped to have valued conversations with leaders. Lunch will be somewhere in there. After lunch, we're going to do a deep dive into client insights and CX metrics. It's impossible to run a client experience program if you don't know what the experience is that your clients are having. So how do we measure the experience? And then how do we tie those CX metrics to other business metrics so that we're building an ROI model before lunch? Well, then after lunch, how are we connecting the results of improving client experiences in measurable ways to revenue, profitability, some of those kinds of things. So we can make CX a business energizer. And then I said, 3 o'clock today, when our brains are all full, we're all tired, we get to the hard stuff, which is CX governance and charters. And that's really like 2-3 hour workshops we're squeezing into an hour. So if it feels a little overwhelming, that's okay. But I wouldn't be serving you well if I didn't show you, as you mature on your CX journey, you're going to need to get into change management, into aligning an organization with common language and common understanding. And that's where governance and charters really become potent tools in your toolkit. Now, the good news is a lot of these things are going to help you in ways beyond client experience. Like building a business case. Has anyone ever tried to get a new website funded? It's nice. Well, the tools I'm going to teach you with building a business case can help you get websites funded. If you need to upgrade a new CRM, the tools I'm going to show you today are going to help you do that as well. So a lot of this is like business fundamentals, governance. You already have governance in place on a lot of things. There's financial controls around company credit cards, things like that. There's governance in place already. So a lot of client experience isn't actually that new. It's assembling a lot of things you already know and do, formalizing it, maybe elevating it a little bit, and then putting the client at the center as your context. Okay? So if anything feels overwhelming today, I said earlier, I've got 4 kids, chaos is my life, like this is meant to be a dialogue today. I know we're filming. Don't make this 6 hours of Ryan talking, okay? This is conversation. I've got about 4 hours of talking to do. I mean, so you guys have 2 hours to film. Okay. All right? So, I've got my little meeting recorder, and it tells me at the end what percentage of the time I spent talking. So, I measure things. That's what I do, right? But who is ClearlyRated? I just want to give you a little bit more about who ClearlyRated is. We provide CX management software and integrated consulting exclusively to AEC and professional services. I told you I've personally worked with over 600 AEC firms over the last 22 years. We've helped design experiences, implement new experience management, and measurement really is the core of everything that we do. 21 years in business, over 700 happy clients, 20 time zones. We facilitated over 35 million client surveys. So all this stuff I'm sharing with you today, this is not just random things that came out of Ryan's head. This is researched. We have data and more data on CX and AEC than anyone else in the world. So this is all very much scientific. It's proven, it's tested, and we've been able to measure the results. These are some of the firms that we are currently working with, just to give you a sense of the scope of who we work with. We have 6 industry standards. So we have 2 platforms right now, the ClearlyRated platform and Client Savvy's client feedback tool. By the end of the year, there's going to be 1 platform, so we're working on those together. We have a Best of Awards, Best of Accounting, Best of Legal, Best of Engineering is going to be new for the first time in 2026, so watch for those. We also have been doing a Client Experience Award for about a decade. So there's bronze, silver, gold, platinum. We have a mostly annual conference. We're kind of taking off this year because we're doing about 2 dozen of these boot camps. But we generally do an annual conference where we bring CX leaders to share case studies. Got a bunch of recorded content from past presentations on our website. And then we do have a certification, Client Experience Management Professional. So if what you see today excites you, you're actually getting 6 hours of credit towards CXMP being here today. We have 23 3-hour hands-on workshops. They are virtual, but they are synchronous with other learners. And if you get through 18 hours of education, do a case study of implementing CX, some kind of, whether it's voice to client, whether it's doing this empathy mapping, whatever your CX thing is, then the community reviews your case study, and if they vote up, you get to join the CXMP community. So, and then it's currently a lifetime membership. So once you're in, you can go to as many of those workshops, come back, get refreshes if you'd like. All right. I'm so glad to see laptops closed. It's amazing. So we have an analog audience today. If you want to do digital workbook, you can scan the code and do a digital workbook. I will email all of you after this with links to the digital workbook. I've got a whole library. There's a lot of exercises and ebooks that didn't make it into the front version of the workbook, but I do have those in a digital library for you as well. Okay. So getting started. Any questions before we get through the day? Good. Restrooms out here to the right. If you have any questions about that, we will take some breaks along the way. CX fundamentals and maturity model. We are going to define what client experience is in AEC. We're going to understand your starting point because your starting point is going to reveal to you what your next step needs to be. And we're going to identify some quick wins to build momentum. So why client experience? Let me ask you guys. Why does this matter?
Client retention.
Client retention. Great. What else?
Strategic insights for your company.
What do you mean by that?
It helps you understand where you should spend time and focus.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can give you really good insights on the experience that they're having, and even what services are resonating with them, and maybe where you should deprioritize.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Great. Great. What else?
Let's say references.
References?
Mm-hmm.
Great one. Sure. Working with the client right now. We're partnering with Toki. If anyone knows Toki, the branding agency. So we are comparing their client feedback with their marketing content on their website. Where is the brand voice misaligned with client perception? And so there's some brand gaps in there that need to be closed. There's some promises being made that aren't being delivered. But there's some strengths that clients are talking about that they're not communicating. So if you've got a strength and you're not communicating it in the marketplace, how are you going to attract those buyers who want that thing you're already doing well? So yeah, absolutely right. Profitability. Profitability? How do you think CX impacts profitability?
If clients are thrilled with you, they pay the bills back. When they're not, they're slower. and you can collect on them, make the phone calls to collect units. It becomes more of a partnership versus a adversarial.
So you guys all have bags of candy. A friend of mine back home makes those. If you don't like your flavor, there's some other flavors in here you can trade. But for an extra free bag of candy, write down a number right now. Happy clients, how many days faster do they pay their invoices? Just write it down somewhere. I'm going to give you that slide. I want to see who's closest. Whoever's closest gets an extra bag of candy. How's that sound? All right. So why? Right now, 78% of professional services buyers view a seamless client experience as a top decision factor in firm selection. 78%. The same people who tonight are going to go on Amazon, search for a widget, click the 4 stars and up filter. 1 click later, they've got something on their doorstep at 4 a.m. before they wake up tomorrow morning. And if they don't like it, it's 2 clicks and it goes back and they have their money back. That's great customer experience, isn't it? That's why Jeff Bezos is one of the 5 richest men in the world. It's an obsessive focus on customer experience. Well, those same people who expect that kind of experience are the same ones looking at your proposals and choosing, do we hire Design West or somebody else? It's kind of not fair.
Yeah.
I mean, these trillion-dollar companies are setting standards and setting expectations on how easy life should be, and then we got these 100-person companies that, like, kind of with the limited resources we have, we got to figure out how to compete with that. Because if I can get that easy stuff for an $8 widget, why not for an $80,000 contract? Right? So the world has shifted. Right now, 7% of your clients are actively trying to bring their business somewhere else. 7% of your clients are already going.
Good.
24% have a complaint they haven't voiced. How do I know this? We've done 35 million in these surveys. Almost 1 in 4 of your clients has a complaint. MEP firms, sorry guys, your complaint rates are twice as high as anyone else. It's not you, it's the architects. As a recovered architect, I can say that. And then, what have you talked about how hard it is to get new clients? And so the importance of retaining clients, right? Well, did you know first-time clients are 4 times more likely to churn, which means not come back as a client you can get to a second project? If you can get them to a second project, they stay with you 7 to 12 years. That first-time experience has to be, because there's no such thing as a new client. There's someone else's unhappy client.
Yeah.
And so why are they coming to you? Because someone's already screwed up.
Sure.
So they're expecting you to you gotta be better than the old guys, because the old guys at least know me. I mean, I'm leaving, but they at least know me. You gotta make it better. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go back to the old guys. So it's always a first date trial. And if you can nail that experience, oh my goodness, it's better than the old. You've got someone who wants you to do well.
Yeah.
And all you got to do is do it. And if you do, they'll bring you all your work, and you got it for 7 to 12 years. But we treat new clients oftentimes the same way we treat everybody else. And they need something different.
Mm-hmm.
So, tale of two perspectives. Bain and Company surveyed almost 600 CEOs. This is not AEC specific. This is, Fortune 2000 type stuff. And ask CEOs, do you provide an above average client experience? What percentage of CEOs said yes?
Yes.
7.
80%. 80% of CEOs think we do something really special. Now, when Bain surveyed those companies' customers, what percentage of customers agreed?
The first 10 I worked on,
That's the client experience gap. Now, the good news is, in AEC, it's about 3 or 4 times higher than that. In 21 to 27% of your clients think you're doing something really special. Right? So professional services, the bar is higher.
Is that because of the higher collaboration relationship than a lot of services that they pull in this? The fact that there's more.
I would believe so. And here's why. We have clients, not customers. What's the difference between a client and a customer?
Transactions.
Transactions. What else differentiates client versus customer?
repeat business.
Repeat business. I mean, I've got almost 800 nights in Marriott. That's repeat business.
I think it's a relationship.
Okay? What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of times when we want to win a project, we go out and take time to meet the client, build a relationship throughout the buying process.
Yeah.
Get to know them, even maybe go golfing,
Right.
personal level.
So I've got 800 nights in Marriott. Do I know anybody at Marriott? I don't have a relationship with anybody at Marriott. I have a relationship with the brand. That's what customers do. In professional services, you don't have relationships with brands. You have relationships with people. That's what makes you a client. I mean, have you ever sent a client a birthday card? You ever been invited to a client's wedding or something like that? That's different. That's special. So, because of that, no AEC firm can start. Every architecture, engineering, construction, accounting, law firm has the same origin story. It's somebody with 3 initials working for a company that's 3 initials. And they build some great relationships. They go from doer to seller doer to leader, and they've got a book of business, right? The only thing you need to start a professional services firm is relationship capital. It takes almost no capital to start an engineering firm. Laptop, a license, or Revit, and you're good to go. You just need clients. So that person with 3 initials, or 3 people, each with 1 initial, decide they can do it better, and they leave and they walk across the street and they hang a shingle and they bring their clients with them. And they obsess over taking care of the clients that they brought with them, because if I don't take care of those clients, I'm not going to pay the mortgage. So every AEC firm that worked had a founder that obsessed over the client because they couldn't eat if they didn't. So the floor is really high in professional services as opposed to every other business. I think that makes our world special. So if you go read any of the books about client experience and about customer experience, there's no books on client experience. I'm working on it. If you go read any of the CX books, customer experience books, there's some great ones. But you read them, it's like, I can see that working in a call center, but I'm not really sure that works for us. So what I've tried to do over these last 22 years is, create some new rules, adapt some old rules, and how do we fit all the science and the research and the best practices from the customer world and adapt it to the client world, because it is different. Now, please don't hang your head if these things are on your website, but if multiple of you have these differentiators on your website, they're really not differentiators. Our people, our expertise, our experience, our projects, our process, our culture, those are table stakes. You don't stay in business if you don't have those things. That's cost of entry. That doesn't make you different. What makes you different is not your experience, the client's experience. So the key drivers, the Net Promoter System, not my invention. The other Ryan who founded Fred Reichold invented this like the same year I invented our approach. Obviously, it just was better at marketing than I was. Net Promoter System, the question is, how likely are you to recommend us to a colleague or peer? And it's a 0 to 10 scale. And they've done research on this. Behaviorally, people who score a 9 or a 10 as a population, that population tells 6 people on average about how great their experience was. They're more likely to repurchase. They're less price sensitive with all these behaviors. Scores of 7 and 8, those are your passives. I call them the gas station on the right. 4 gas stations I'm loyal to. Just depends which way I'm going when the gas light comes on. No one's turning left to cut across traffic in rush hour. Go to the gas station on the right. So there's a difference between loyalty and preference. So you can have loyalty with those 7s and 8s, but they don't care. Right? They don't care. They shop when it's convenient. And if you're too expensive, if you're inconvenient, then they're going to shop somewhere else. And then scores of 6 and under, even though 6 is technically on the likely side of the 11-point scale, in grade school, what's a 60% failing grade, right? So we're all kind of wired because 6 is bad. So as a population, 6 and unders, they tell 18 people about the negative experience they had. Ouch, right? That's why they're called detractors. They're the ones who will do, if they could, they would shop somewhere else. So we've done some research in professional services on what are the drivers to creating a promoter. Someone who's going to go out of the way to do business with you, pay more, tell everyone about you, give great references, refer their colleagues your way. Well, on a rate of 100, 7% correlation, professional reputation. 11% industry knowledge and 21% technical expertise. Now, if one of those is missing, they're a detractor really fast. Right? It's like if there's water in the gas. You don't think about the gas. If the gas engine works, you don't think about it anymore. But if there's water in the gas and the engine stutters, you get real mad real fast. So these things, you don't get credit for these, but it costs you dearly when you fall short. So what do you get credit for? What do people actually go, wow, that's different. That's what makes you special. These are experiential. 98% engage me as a partner. 87% help me with my outcomes, and 84% communicate with me proactively. Don't wait for me to ask. If you're looking for the experiential differentiators, what's going to make you different than anybody else, those are the 3 things clients want more than anything else. Now, it's interesting. Go ask your project managers, what does it mean to engage as a partner? If you've got 20 project managers, how many answers are you going to get? 20 different answers. There were some Starbucks, like, guys, there's free coffee back here, and some of you left the room to go spend money at Starbucks. That's loyalty.
Yeah.
You go to any Starbucks anywhere, are you going to have the same experience?
Honestly, but
More, like, you're surprised when you don't.
yeah.
You go work with 20 different project managers at Design West, you're going to have like 20 different experiences more often than not. So what client experience is, the science behind it are the tools to define, hey, at Design West, here's what it means to engage as a partner. And you find that, and you train to that, and you coach to that, and you hire to that, and you have accountability around that. And then all of a sudden, all your clients are like, man, Design West is the best partner. And those architects who are frustrated at every other MEP is like, no one partners with those like Design West. Why would we take our business anywhere else? So CX is the key to creating a sustainable competitive advantage for your firm. So we want to define client experience for us. You're all here at a CX workshop. Who can define client experience?
I think there's a lot of different answers, but it's every single experience that a client has with your firm, every step of the way of their buying journey.
Great answer. Yeah. Any other answers? So I start with good answers. First one.
Kind of everything that's going to lead to their one sentence summation of when someone goes, what do you think of this firm? It's going to be all the collective experiences they've had with everybody that's going to get them that final score in their head. When they say, oh, this is a really good firm, or it's, oh, those money shaky, or whatever they say. So
When one of your clients is at a conference and one of their peers says, hey, I'm looking for a new MEP. What do you think about Design at West? If your client goes, before they answer, you've lost.
Yeah.
That half second of they have to think about the answer, you've lost. Yeah.
That's why I went to that. Because that person across the aisle said, when I was looking for a job, she said, yeah, you want to do stuff. And I believed her more so than I believed Design West. She was an architect.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh. So y'all got to her blame. But that was for me because of her experience. She is the example of that.
Exactly right. So we want to make sure every one of our clients, the moment someone asks about your firm name, there's no hesitation. They smile, their eyes light up, and there's an authentic, genuine, oh yeah, those guys are great. So client experience, we define it as the emotional reaction to every interaction with your brand. And as you said, every interaction. When does your client experience start?
First
first station, first place.
conversation, that's first incoming, whatever that is.
Earlier.
The first experience, like website, social, and
The minute they learn who you are, that very first moment when your company's name finds a spot in your brain, their emotional journey begins. Now, that first emotional response could be indifference. It could be curiosity. It could be a lot of different things. So, the more we understand all of those moments and touch points, from when they first learn who you are to they start showing some active buying signals, like visiting your website, talking to peers in the industry. There's a lot that goes on before the first conversation. And then they reach out, and now you're in the business development cycle, and there's touch points and interactions there. There's non-interactions that impact their experience. We went to lunch a week ago, we never followed up. Right? And that starts shaping emotion. They must be busy. Maybe they don't actually care. To proposals, contracts, kickoff meetings, all the messy stuff that happens delivering a project, receiving an invoice. wondering why he didn't show up to the ribbon cutting because, boy, this was a special project for me. And like, I thought the team should be here. A year later, it's like, oh, I guess they only wanted my project. Where'd they go? That whole journey has emotions. And the more we understand that, we can design experiences at each one of those touch points to create the kind of emotions we want and to minimize the emotions we don't want. I'm a baseball guy. If you want to go deeper into the client experience and you like baseball and you're not a purist, follow Jesse Cole on social media. He's the Savannah Bananas man with the yellow suit. His book, Fans First, is an amazing CX book. His like little reels on YouTube or Facebook are truly entertaining and engaging. Just one of the best brains of client experience, customer experience right now. So I would follow him. Great stuff. So if client experience is your brand, guys, CX leaders and marketers have to build the brand across all client touchpoints. Now, what percentage of the journey do marketers own? Well, yeah.
Should be the whole process.
Right? It's tough. So we've got some structural re-engineering we have to do in our org structures to make sure whoever is leading CX, whether it's a dedicated CX leader, whether it's someone in marketing or business development, whether it's a principal or partner, whoever is leading CX needs to be able to operate across the entire client journey. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. So exercise, let's work down the middle of the room. So stand right here at the projector if you think the very hardest part, the most broken part of the CX is their first impression. You get to like sales stuff here. This is like project delivery in the middle. This is like project closeout. And then stand down here if you think this is like after the project's over and things are long and gone. So line up where you think the most broken part of the client experience is right now.
Just run. Oh, okay. You got this.
Line up or cluster. All right, so in a room really heavy on marketing people, there's nobody standing in the
I'd like to point out my team is further back, so they
Oh, you guys can sit down. What does that say?
Marketers are great and do a good job. It's harder work to do it that hard.
I work hardest for the PMs and the project managers to juggle that they have to do amongst multiple projects and still sound very proactive and be helping the team come along as opposed to trying to react to deadlines.
Absolutely right. So we have some structural challenges in how our organizations are designed, built, and operate that fundamentally make delivering client experience difficult. So we're going to have to talk about that today. How do we really redesign our business to be client focused, like truly client focused, not just lip service, but we're actually designing our business around the client. And Tim Schroeder, the president of Newman Munson Architects. If anything we talk about today feels too big, I want to tell you, Newman Munson Architects, 45-person firm in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. No one does it better. I've worked with over 600 firms. They are beating giants. They do some amazing work. Tim said, I love this quote, "It's really hard to read the label from inside the jar."
so
They're such down-to-earth people at Newman Munson. They're really, really great. And you think about it, it's like, boy, if we designed our business for us.
Like,
we designed our business for what's easy for us. If we really look at our business from the client's perspective and we redesign the business for them, what's going to change? And that's how you end up with Banana Bowl, right? And they're selling up stadiums, and sport I love dearly, but honestly is kind of waning. Someone is like bringing it through the roof and selling it. Like, the biggest attendance at a baseball game in the history of the world is just a game of bananas. Like the top 10 biggest attendances ever at a baseball game are bananas.
Baseball boring. So surveillance, it makes it more exciting.
You're hurting my feelings.
I know.
It's so boring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jesse Cole's thing is no one goes to a baseball game to watch a walk. Walks are boring. So how do we re-engineer the walk to make the walk one of the most exciting things on the field? And if you don't know banana rules, if you walk, you can keep on running until all 9 defenders touch the ball. So you can end up on third base with the walk, but they can throw you out. So it becomes this whole, like everyone's waiting for, like everybody wants to walk because it's exciting. I mean, imagine, think about the most mundane, boring parts of being a client of an engineering or architecture or construction firm and ask, can we put some delight in there and actually make that a highlight rather than a low light? So your brand lives at the intersection of buyer experience, client experience, and employee experience. I'm talking a lot today about client experience. We're going to certainly talk about buyer experience as well. But no, it's a bit outside the scope today, but employee experience is critical to good CX. CX and EX are a vicious or virtuous cycle. If you've got broken CX, you've got frustrated clients. If you have frustrated clients, who pays the price?
This place.
Your frontline staff. If they're having to deal with frustrated clients all day, what happens to their mental health and joy coming into the office?
Morale plummets.
Morale plummets, so then they do less good work because they're stressed. And so then clients get more upset and you get this vicious cycle. Flip side, if we engineer delightful client experiences, our employees get to show up and work with their friends every day. They get to be heroes on a daily basis, not because they're putting out fires, but because they're creating amazing moments of delight. And so they walk in with their chest a little puffed up. I get to work at Design West. I mean, isn't that what you want? I get to go to work today. And so you end up with the virtuous cycle. So all this, talking about having to re-engineer our businesses, let me encourage you to start thinking the fastest growing new role in ADC and in accounting and legal and staffing is the rise of the CX strategist. Someone named to own the client experience. And the bigger the firm, that could be a whole team.
Yeah.
Smaller firms can certainly have part-time role. Your marketing at BD and client experience now, right? You got a third hat. There's some really progressive firms. Withers Ravenel, 450-person civil engineering firm out of North Carolina. 450 people. They have a 4-person corporate services team dedicated to CX, and about another 12 CX professionals that are client facing. That's a pretty high percentage of the organization. And they're growing faster than their peers. They're more profitable than their peers. They're doing amazing work. So let's think about that. What does the client experience strategist do? Well, they manage the client experience. What is client experience management? Let's ask an easier question. What is marketing management?
Anything to do with brands, anything to do with like the client experience, some level.
Yep.
Anything that I say, practitioner also encompasses business development, anything that is outward facing and inward facing. We also about that piece that if we're going to clients, employees go.
So we're about how to.
We're a lot of hats in marketing again.
So what you mentioned is that new role that you see now that's trending right now.
No.
How do you think that would, I would say, justify marketing? This feel like a lot of small companies don't have the separation between marketing development is expected to do
Yeah.
not only like oversee those levels or bring in leads, but also manage the client experience. Be the interface that can be going to that and represent an company, and be the first point of contact, and then delegate that to like a PM or someone in
Yeah.
So how do you see that?
the client experience strategist's job is really to put the client in the middle of the room and then look at the business, all aspects of the business, and say, finance, how are you impacting the client? IT, how are you PMs, how are you impacting? Marketing BD, how are you impacting the client experience? So that client experience strategist is the ambassador for the client inside the organization. Which means it's a very cross-functional role. You're going to literally, CX strategist literally touches every part of the business. So marketing management is crafting a blog post marketing.
Yes.
So this is kind of task-oriented, right? You have projects, maybe a content campaign. So if you're doing a content campaign, you need a bunch of blog posts to go into the content campaign. Well, those projects are serving strategies, like your content strategy. And then your content strategy is serving outcomes like new market entry. No one's writing blog posts just to write, I mean, if you are writing blog posts just to write blog posts, you're not really managing marketing. You're doing marketing tasks, you're not managing marketing. Managing marketing is saying, hey, we have an outcome that we're after. That outcome is driven by strategies. The strategies are supported by projects. The projects are supported by tasks. You guys know this stuff, right? This isn't new. And so there's obviously going to be a lot more tasks than there are outcomes. And these tend to align with your role in the organization. So marketing coordinators, you guys are doing a bunch of tasks. And then you can move up to a marketing manager, you go to marketing director, and you ultimately, the CMO is at the executive table and should have, doesn't always, but should have an equivalent voice. And the CMO's role is outcomes. So CX, your CX organization, should look a lot like this. At early phase, you might be filling all 4 roles as a part-time, CX leader and part-time marketing leader and part-time BD leader. That's okay. But if we're only operating at the task level and we're not operating more strategically, we're going to struggle with client experience management. So what is client experience? It's not a checklist. If you guys are hoping to come here today and get like a 5-item checklist and we're going to go do that in the next 2 quarters and we're done? Are you ever done with marketing?
No.
No. Marketing is a capability that you develop as an organization. Marketing is a capability. IT is a capability. Finance is a capability. Client experience is a capability. So you're developing new capabilities. They're muscles that you're training and growing and strengthening. So as an organization, you can manage client experience consistently. Now, is there a, kind of a wave of effort you have to take early phase to start scaling this up? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Get you there. So typical marketers often do a CX playbook that looks like this: market research, digital experience. We need a new website that's more client focused. Clients first content, new slogan, snazzy giveaway.
Sad.
Snazzy is a good word. Hey, new slogan, we're going to need new business cards, right?
What do you think?
Nothing on this is wrong. This is all good stuff. And if this is what your CX playbook looks like right now, you're not wrong. But you may not be thinking completely enough around what it really is and what it really takes to transform the organization to be CX first. So this is like a snapshot. It's not supposed to be read. This is a snapshot of the 42 projects an engineering firm we worked with did over 18 months to stand up client experience in the organization. And we're going to touch on most of that kind of stuff today as we get through, what does this really mean? It's work. But I don't want to tell you it's not going to be work. It's really high value work. And the ROI for investing in CX is probably the highest ROI stuff you can do in the next 12 to 18 months. But I don't want to sugarcoat it and say this is easy and trivial and a part-time marketer is going to be done with it in 6 to 12 months. That's just not how CX works. Just like you're not going to be done with marketing in 6 to 12 months. But I don't have time for that. That's okay. Start small, iterate, deliver value, repeat. I'm going to tell you something. I'll say it a few times today. Client experience is about value creation and value capture. Value creation and value capture. You said happy clients pay their bills.
None of the two.
Happy clients, that's value creation. Pay their bills. Value capture. All right? So value creation, value capture. If we're going to do an input, if we're going to put something into client experience, we darn well better get something out of client experience. And it's okay to fail. You're going to fail along the way. But it's important to do that value capture so that when the failures happen, it's, oh, we learned something. But as a whole, we're still in the positive. Let's keep iterating. So that 42 projects over 3 years. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this really resonates with me. I don't have time for that because the journey can be, okay, you research it, you see the value here. We're obviously all here to learn about it. You have to convince your company to go for a long-term kind of forever program like this. And then you do stand it up and you learn a lot of things along the way. And then you learn that this is a forever program and then you have to hire to support it. It made me think about Christine.
Yeah.
Bringing in Christine Farrat, like a strong person who understood voice of the client and how to run these types of programs because it wasn't something that was a part-time gig for myself or an organization. So it is true. It's a forever program.
Yeah. Now this big project to implement client experience, it was a global organization, so that there were some global challenges. I don't want to scare anybody, but it was a very substantial investment in professional services to help them stand that up. But you know how much they needed to get started? About 6% of the budget.
Wait.
They needed about 6% to get started. It was about 50 grand. All right? And with that, they were able to do 3 projects. Now, if they did all 42, the ROI model showed they were going to deliver $53 million in value every year of the business. And the CFO audited the results and said you're directionally accurate, but you grossly underestimated how much value this is going to create. When the CFO looks at your ROI model and says you're aiming low, you've won. Right? So they had a $53 million annual profit capture at play here. The first 3 projects were forecast to generate $1.8 million in return for a $50,000 investment. And you implement, you measure, and what the CX leader did is he had to get the board on board was, hey, if we do this, can I have half of the value return so I can fund the next round of initiatives? I need $50,000 to get started, and then I'm going to self-fund from there because I'm going to measure diligently. Took them 3 years to go through the transformation, and guess what? They did it. They're generating over $50 million a year in return to the business because of the work they did standing up CX. Now that's a big global organization. It's heavy. It doesn't cost $1 million for everybody to do that. Okay? I mean, a 45-person firm in Iowa did it. So it's scalable. Don't get scared. But let's think about it. Let's create value, capture value, and just commit. Let's return some. Like if you find a vending machine that you put $1 in, $2 comes out, what are you going to do? You're not going to be, man, I doubled my money and walk away.
Yeah.
You're going to try it again. You're going to feed that machine dollar bills all night long. It's the ultimate Vegas hack, right? That's what CX should be. So the difference between a false start and a sustainable advantage is really leaning in on that metric piece. And so section 2 today is leaning in on building that business case. How do we model that? Now, our first exercise, I want to bring us into the workbook. And let me introduce maturity first before we get too distracted by workbook. Has anyone done a maturity model for something before? Like CRM maturity or anything like that yet? So maturity models aren't new. They're not our invention. But I want to introduce you to what a maturity model is. We're doing a 5 level plus 0. All right? So generally, level 0, absent. You have no maturity, you've done nothing with it. Level 1, you've begun. Level 2, you're doing some ad hoc stuff. Level 3 is predictable. Level 4 is optimized. Level 5 is best in class. Very few ever achieve best in class. That's okay. But you at least want to be in this predictable, moving towards optimized phase. This is where some really amazing, like if you want to be like growing the fastest, if you want to like dominate your market, if you want to be overall the first place in thing you do, you want to get it here. If you just want to be a good, healthy business that's going to survive the next downturn and all that, you want to at least be in this range. Firms down here are the ones that struggle when the world goes upside down. So let's talk about something we all know and understand, finance and operations. We may not like really know it, but you kind of get the concepts, right? So level 0, this is what happens when the 3 initials walked across the street and started their firm. How much money's in the bank? Level 1, we have Excel spreadsheets. Level 2, poorly implemented generic ERP. Level 3, monthly late invoices. It's predictable. We know every month we're going to get the invoices out 3 weeks late. It's predictable. Level 4, we have low AR, we have timely billing, we're optimized. Level 5, that's where partners manage profits masterfully. Project managers manage profits masterfully. Okay, does that kind of make sense on maturity? So client experience management, high level. CX hasn't begun. Level 1, CX is reactive and informal. Level 2, the firm begins to formalize listening. Level 3, CX processes become part of project delivery. Level 4, CX is part of how the business operates, and level 5 is how we'll live it and measure it every day. Yeah, questions?
Hi. Are there scenarios where a little bit of what we do can be, let's say, in level 4,
Yeah.
in level 3, but maybe we're at a target level 1, that we have components of level 4?
Absolutely. And in fact, it's normal. We're getting ready to do the assessments. We're going to break this down into 5 dimensions of client experience. Very rarely are you at the same maturity level every dimension. And it's also common for you to say, hey, on this dimension, we're at like level 5 on part of it and level 0 on part of it. And so that's where you're like building the roof and you don't have the foundation yet. And you're wondering why stuff's not working. And now you got a really beautiful roof, but how are we going to hold it up? We're missing some things. So the maturity model is a diagnostic tool to help you understand where are we today, where do we have some gaps. And then if you're at level 1 on one dimension and level 3 on the other 4 dimensions, if you try to go from 3 to 4, but you still got one dimension where you're lagging, you're going to struggle. So the diagnostic tool is here to help you move in a rational way from maturity level to maturity level and not have any blind spots when you're missing something. So yes, now we should be in the book. Go, one more slide. Again, so you guys don't feel badly about being early phasing and maturity. I've only had, so my 7th bootcamp, I've had one person authentically be at level 4, level 5. Okay. CX strategy, 47% of AEC firms don't have a strategy. It's the minority, barely, but that means 53% are doing something. 29% have started a few CX efforts. 19% have a formal CX program in place, and 4% report that they have CX enculturated in everything they do. So that's the kind of market distribution right now. I imagine Haru is going to probably follow a similar model. So strategy and leadership, this is dimension 1. You know, I put page numbers on this. Someone keeps changing my slide deck. I hope that moves. All right, going to page 9. This is our first assessment. Please write for the book. I know some of you are multiple people from the same organization. That's okay, we'll compare some notes. But level 1, or dimension 1, is leadership and strategy. So what do we mean by that? You're at level 0 if decisions rely on anecdotes, not reliable CX data. Level 1, internal CX champions and ownership is established. You might not have something launched, but hey, you know, Shannon, your name to run it.
Also study.
Maybe she just raised her hand and said, I'm going to run it, and, you know, but there's at least someone saying, hey, me. Level 2, you've got an executive sponsor and a simple CX charter in place. So that's where someone like you who raised their hands now has executive support. You can start really getting stuff done. Yeah. Level 3, you're using CX insights to inform your ideal client profiles and pursuit strategy. When we're doing intros, someone over here was talking about like making sure we're getting the right kind of work and it's the most profitable, most satisfying work. That's what an ideal client profile is. Who are your ICPs if you don't know which ones love you the most? Level 4, dedicated CX roles and response teams are deployed. Response teams, if there's a breakdown in client experience, you've got a playbook for, we're going to deal with this. CX informs firm strategy, and then level 5, CX is embedded in governance, compensation, and the brand. That doesn't mean your paycheck depends on someone giving you a 10 out of 10 on a survey. I would not recommend that at all.
Except for them.
But you're looking at CX behaviors, right? Are we as an organization doing the CX behaviors we should to drive good outcomes to clients? And there's a measurement and management around that. So, assessment time. Who here is at level 0 today? Yep. Level 1. Level 2. Okay, Design West all agrees. You're all looking at each other and saying, all right. Right there.
Just over here on this side. I'm looking a little out.
They're all looking at you. It's like judge and jury, right? Does anyone feel like you're at level 3 or higher? Yeah? What are you doing today on the leadership side that makes you feel you're a bit more mature on this?
I think we've aligned our internal BD to our clients.
Okay.
So we have what are called client team leaders. And
Yep.
meeting constantly, that meeting is to discuss, client relationships. We look at the client surveys and just kind of line those up with our pursuit strategy.
Yeah.
It says there. So
Okay.
yeah, we've had that internal process.
So do you have metrics around your client experience? That
We do.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Fantastic, all right. Very cool. So, kind of like the distribution we thought we would see here. All right. The next dimension, listening and insight. Level 0, feedback only appears when someone yells.
So,
Level 1, you baseline CX metrics. So you always do like an annual brand perception survey or, some kind of a regular measurement to understand and benchmark. Level 2, you're doing milestone-based surveys to get feedback during the client journey. We all said earlier, right here is where the client journey is breaking down. So if we're not measuring right here, how are we going to fix it? So level 2, you're doing some kind of milestone-based surveys or client insights to get feedback during the client journey. Level 3, formal recovery playbooks guide consistent responses. So guess what happens right here when a client says, man, this isn't working? How does the project manager know that it's not working? And how does the project manager know what to do? You need to have a playbook in place for that. So that you go to any Starbucks anywhere and you're surprised if it's not a consistent experience. We don't want 20 inspired geniuses figuring out the same problem every time.
Good. Yeah.
Level 4, client panels, expanded listening methods implemented. So you're bringing clients in to talk, we talk to our clients. Do your clients talk to you? Bring clients in, do client handle with a room full of project managers. Practice empathy, journey mapping. There's a lot of insight modalities you can use to understand the client better. And then level 5, you've unified client experience, employee experience, and revenue analytics to drive strategic decisions. Doug Updike, who runs the CX program at CDM Smith, 8,000-person global organization. If I name someone, it's because they're on my YouTube channel. We recorded it. We got their permission, right? He spoke at our conference a couple years ago. They tied their client experience data to their pipeline data in Salesforce and drew a straight line correlation. There was even one non-promoter in the client org. Their revenue capture rate was 31% lower.
Wow.
Organization that size costing them 8-9 figures a year in cost sales because of breakdowns in client experience. You use playbooks to solve problems so that it doesn't impact your sales, right? You've got to have dashboards where all that data is now tied together so you can see directly how client experience is. Because CX is like the canary in the coal mine. It's the leading indicator that tells you what your operational data is going to look like down the road. So, anyone at level 0? No formal feedback loops in place? Is anyone at least doing like annual surveys? Level 1? All right. Level 2, milestone based? Yes?
Between audit you right now.
Okay. That's normal bit. Level 3, formal recovery playbooks. Anyone at 4 or 5?
Thanks.
Go ahead. ROI and value realization, level 0. Success depends on individuals, not repeatable systems. Level 1, CX investment is justified with business aligned goals. Guys, we're going to do that before lunch. So I will get you all to level 1 of this dimension today. That's the goal. Level 2, early proof points support sales and risk reduction. Level 3, employees are recognized, retention and referrals increase. Level 4, differentiated client experience supports premium pricing and retention. You don't have to be cheap anymore. Level 5, profitability, contract value, and share of wallet increase. Share of wallet's an incredible CX metric. It's one of the least used in the industry right now, but I think it's so potent. Everyone always says, yeah, 85% of our work is repeat business. Like it's a thing of pride. Every professional services firm that went out of business their last year, they had 100% repeat business. Follow? If you have 100% repeat business, you're going to go out of business. You're not bringing in any new blood. Firms are winding down their contracts. You're dead. So percent of repeat business is not a metric that's useful in any way, shape, or form. Share of wallet is if someone's spending $1 million a year on MEP services and you're getting $250,000 a year of work from them, you've got a 25% share of wallet, which means you're spending $750 with your competitors. That's a really potent CX metric. All right. Level 0. Good. Level 1.
Getting
Getting
we're beyond the level 0 attitude and try to move towards
Intention.
yeah.
Level 0.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right. Anyone have any early proof points that support sales and risk reduction? Anyone at level 3 or higher? Guys, this is actually one of the hardest. However, the CX and AEC research report we did last year that we presented at Amplify, the single biggest driver of growth and profitability is how well firms do ROI and value realization in their CX programs. Yeah. That's why we're investing some time in it today. It's not hard, but it's not complicated. We need to fix that. Culture and enablement. CX is recognized, but there's no shared definition or execution approach. Level 1, peer firms are studied for CX maturity and guidance. Level 2, you have standard close-the-loop actions and feedback loops to reduce surprises. Level 3, CX is embedded into project and engagement workflows. Like imagine at the kickoff meeting, actually discussing the client experience plan with the client consistently. Level 4, CX fundamentals guide daily behaviors firm-wide. You hear about Ritz-Carlton. You know, any employee at Ritz-Carlton has a blank check of $200 to do what's right for the customer. Janitor, front desk, doesn't matter. Every employee can spend $100 to make a client happy. And that's how you end up, one of the most viral stories, a family stayed and the 5-year-old kid left their precious teddy bear, as 5-year-old kids are, you know. And they're on the airplane on the way home, and the kid can't find their teddy bear, and she's frantic, and mom calls the rich girl, hey, did we leave the teddy bear? And the front desk goes, we'll take care of it. Front desk radios to one of the a cleaning staff, and she sure enough finds the teddy bear in the room. So she makes up the room and then tucks the teddy bear in bed and takes a picture and says, yeah, Teddy's taking a nap right now, but he wanted an extra day. And then she stopped cleaning rooms and took the teddy bear all around the resort, brought the teddy to the pool, put sunglasses on it. The teddy's out, and over the whole day, pictures were coming in to mom, who could show the little girl, and teddy bear had a whole adventure. And then that night was put it in a FedEx box and FedExed overnight to be there next morning.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? And that story went viral. Millions of people saw that story. You give someone $100 budget to go do what's right by the client, you can get $1 million in free PR. All right, that's the kind of cool stuff that happens when you let CX fundamentally drive daily behaviors of life. The level 5 standard CX training scales employee onboarding. McDonald York Building Company, also in North Carolina. There's some really good firms where I live, and just get to work with them a lot over the years. They're a construction company. They hire for empathy. They have a whole interview that's all focused on empathy and client experience, and you can't come join the company if you don't pass that part of the interview.
What's part of that? Like what is it expecting? Is it?
It's a lot of storytelling, conflict resolution stories, things like that. Not what would you do, but tell me a story about when you start hearing those things. All right, so is there anyone at level 3 or higher on this? Level 2s? Level 1s? Zeros? We good. Cool. I went backwards that time.
Split depletion.
So, gotta mix it up. All right. Finally, execution and scalability. Inconsistent experience quality across teams and projects. You're at level 0. You got 20 PMs, you got 20 different experiences, probably at level 0. Level 1, leadership and employees are educated on CX importance. Decide what you guys kind of get a level 1 today. You brought a bunch of folks. Good start. Level 2, regular net promoter score, satisfaction, effort score measurement begins. Level 3, CX data is integrated into executive dashboards, CRM and handles. We have some leaders and principals over here. Is there a dashboard you look at weekly and monthly?
We have various dashboards. We hope to optimize it a lot more for CX as we learn this. But
As a leadership team, there's something you look at your monthly leadership meetings, right? If CX is not on that, you're not at level 3. What's measured improves, so it needs to be tied in on that. Level 4, CX informs hiring, onboarding, and development. And then level 5, client mix is intentionally shaped for mutual value. It's a great firm we work with up in, based out of Wisconsin. They wanted to fire 80% of their clients. Because they said, we've only got 5% share of wallet with our top 20%. If we just got rid of all the distractions, all these little things, and we could really focus in on our top 20% clients, we could double our revenue and triple our margin in 3 years. And 3 years later, they got rid of 78% of their clients. They fired 3,000 clients. And sure enough, they doubled their revenue and tripled their margins. And what are the structural impediments to doing that? Well, John's a seller doer. If every one of John's clients is on the kill list, how's John going to feel?
Get it.
Well, what? Am I going to have a job? Am I going to be laid off? No. If we double in size, we need 2 of you, not just 1 of you. So how do you make that happen? Well, it's all internal trust. And John's going to start taking care of your big client. And your big client's only spending 3% share of wallet with you because I'm giving you all I can. And you can't take any more. And why can you not take any more? Well, because you don't trust John to take care of your client the way you take care of the client. You don't want John messing up their grade return. You guys are nodding, oh, that sounds familiar, right? And the client doesn't trust John yet. You're an A player. I don't know if John's an A player. So why would I want you, I don't want John. Guys, if you have client experience metrics to show that John is an A player and clients love him, would that help build some trust with the client? Would that help build some trust with you that John's going to do a good job for your clients? And when John starts working for your client, you can monitor and measure and make sure John's doing great work for the client. Now all of a sudden the client has 2 Christophers. What can I do? I can give you twice as much work. And now John, instead of dealing with a whole bunch of small little itty bitty clients and it's a pain in the butt, John gets to work on the big strategic account. John feels pretty good about his career, doesn't he? Without client experience, how do you make that happen? All right. Anybody at level 2 or higher on this one? This is about what I normally see at the client experience boot camps. It's a lot of level 0, level 1 firms. That's what we designed this for. There are certainly, especially in the afternoon, we're going to talk some level 3, 4, 5 stuff with governance and charters. So there's something for everyone here, but I want you to all feel like you're in the right room. All right? So, thank you for that. We're going to take our first break. We'll do about a 10-minute break.